Well, and that's where your passion comes from, because clearly think about, there was no YouTube at that time. You had to literally open a book and read the instructions on how to figure this out, right? So there's no YouTube for all those folks out there listening right now. No YouTube. You can't just look it up real quick or Google it. So he had to figure it out. And that comes from having passion and having energy, because I would imagine that he loved serving those people and wanted to ensure that he was helping them. So that was his burning desire to ensure that.
Yeah, and no doubt. And I mean, whether it's those people or the fact that he knew he needed to eat dinner that night and support the family that he was out there working for. We could do another week-long session on your why, right? And the why that you have, that you always lean into, that causes you to stick to it. And I'm going to bring up what we call Glennisms around here. And that's one thing, as I'm listening to you talk, Glenn, I'm thinking about that stick-to-itiveness that you've always said that you've had, and you could also call that resourcefulness, but, or just that grit, the grind, the never give up. I'm not going to stop until this is accomplished. And I'm not sure there is a better, I think that trait can almost entrepreneurs can fall victim to that trait sometimes if they're maybe holding on to the wrong business for too long, because we all know that, if you're a successful entrepreneur, you failed at some point. I mean, that's just simple. But when it comes to, and I think about the story now, we're here in Kentucky. Colonel Sanders is, one of those, I guess, national, what would you call it, Colonel Sanders?
KFC.
Yeah, Kentucky Fried Chicken. But he's just well known all across the world. Mm-hmm. And it's funny you bring him up, because he just tried well, I don't want to steal your thunder on that, David. But yes, Colonel Sanders is well known across the world for fried chicken.
Yeah, famous, right? And the only point I was going to bring up is that I have heard the stories about him and you may even know it better than me, but I know it was a lot of door knocking, a lot of recipes, a lot of years, and almost until he was 60 years old or something crazy like that. And, don't quote me and blast me for being wrong, but I know that it was at that last door, at that point, like, I don't know how long I can keep doing this, that national stardom and infamy that still lives on today. We're over in Venice, the three of us, this past summer, and the first on an insurance trip. By the way, our business takes us to places like that. So we're over there visiting Venice, and we get off the train, or getting ready to get on the train to go to Florence. And the first thing you see is a KFC.
Yep.
Kentucky Fried Chicken. And if he wouldn't have knocked on that last door, if he wouldn't have stuck to it, that would have never happened, right? So that trait, like you say, Glenn, has been instilled in you, and it's at your core, because it does. It takes time, and it takes a lot of hard work, right, to know that if I stick with this, it's going to more than likely work out.
Yes. I mean, once you figure that out, that it's just all about the stick-to-itiveness, which I really got from my mother. My dad was the idea guy. He was the one to start a business. Let's do this. And when Mom saw profitability, she was the one that drove the family to stick to it, to really cherish the grind. Okay. When everybody talks about the grind that they go through, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, whether you're nurse practitioner, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, there's always going to be a grind. But when you learn to cherish the grind, that's when you start developing a mindset that allows you to grow a net worth you never thought you could. When you do the same thing over and over, and you're expecting different results, we obviously know that's called insanity. But when you do the same things over and over, and you bring other people into that same mindset of success, then doing those same things over and over creates a net worth you never thought you would ever have. And serving so many families. There's so many families today that when their loved ones pass away, we don't get to know those beneficiaries. But I've gotten phone calls from those beneficiaries of being so grateful that I was professionally persistent enough to come into their dad's home, their grandfather's home, and develop that relationship to have those individuals listen and learn and then move them to make a decision to help their families they leave behind.